Welcome to the Learn True Health podcast. I'm your host, Ashley James. This is episode 289. I am so excited for today's guest. Alicia Botyrius is an executive at Sunlighten, who is my favorite sauna company. And Alicia's been helping me ever since I bought my own Sunlighten, and she actually became a listener, which was really cool. I always love it when people I meet start telling me how much they in my life start telling me how much they love the podcast. I'm like, that's so neat. It's so weird and it's so cool, and I'm so happy that I get to help so many people, including Alicia. And Alicia's hooked us up with some really great guests as well. What I love about Sunlighten is that it is a medical device that you can have in your home that helps you heal, that helps you detoxify, that helps you achieve your goals. And I was looking for a device to help me detoxify heavy metals because that's my issue. And I started to dive into all the information and found there's so many companies out there, and it's really buyer beware. And I was a little afraid to buy a sauna because of how different each company is. I did my research, I discovered Sunlighten, and out of all the other companies, I really believe that Sunlighten is heads and shoulders above the rest. Alicia's here today to share stories and amazing science and information about these saunas. And I know a lot of the listeners have actually purchased them and have shared with me, have emailed me and shared with me that it's really working for them, which is so cool because that's what's happened for me. It's really working for me. So Alicia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashley. It's so wonderful to talk with you instead of listening along with all of your other guests. I always look forward to your podcast, and I've learned so much from you.
Well, thank you. It's very surreal to have someone I've, been friends with in real life to listen to the show. It's very cool. I love it. I have really enjoyed working with you. Anytime someone has a question about Sunlighten, I always send it your way, and you've been so helpful. You've given me a plethora of science. That's another reason why I love Sunlighten, is that you guys have a lot of studies and a lot of doctors that utilize your saunas for different therapies and different diseases. I think that's really, really cool. And you guys are constantly doing R&D to expand and make sure that you're creating the absolute healthiest sauna possible. I'd love to start by hearing a bit about you and your story and how you discovered that you wanted to work with Sunlighten and be one of the executives that helps Sunlighten grow as a holistic health company.
Oh yeah, that's a great story, actually. I was actually a customer of Sunlighten. So first of all, our headquarters is in a suburb of Kansas City. And I've been living here for about 20 years. I moved here from Pennsylvania, and for almost half that time, a little more than half that time, I had my own business. So I was in the entrepreneurial world, and it was very, very stressful when you're running a business and you're managing payroll and all that kind of stuff. So I've always, my whole life, been interested in wellness and health and holistic treatments. And I was fortunate enough to be in the same town as Sunlighten. So where we are, where our headquarters is, we also have a day spa where we practice a lot of holistic treatments. We have our saunas where people can come in and use them. So I was a customer. I used to go to the day spa and use the sauna, and it was my place to decompress and think about some of the stressful things and how am I going to make payroll and how am I going to come up with a new marketing campaign, or all of the other thousands of things that you deal with when you're running a business. And I really felt like it was my sanctuary. And I always left feeling healthy and lighter and had more clarity in my thoughts. So when we sold our business a few years ago, I was thinking, what do I really want to be a part of? And one of the investors of my business is very good friends with the owners, Connie and Aaron Zach, and introduced us. And within about 2 weeks, I was working here in business development. So it just kind of naturally happened, which I love and is always a good sign.
That's so cool. And so how long were you a customer before you started working for Sunlighten?
Probably 5 years.
Wow.
So I knew the product inside and out. So when I started here and they were saying, well, let's do product training, I was like, yeah, we could pass that part. Let's just move on.
what did you, I mean, besides the obvious, being able to relax and decompress, which is what you just shared, what are some, so what had surprised you about being in a sunlight and sauna? Like, what surprised you about using this type of therapy, this type of heat therapy that you didn't expect would happen to your health when you started using it?
Really, there were two things that stood out for me. So, number one, I was someone who I've visited saunas before and have been in them maybe 5 minutes because they're so oppressively hot. And I'd always go in because I heard they were good for you, but I could never stay in for a long time because I couldn't breathe. The air was just so hot that it would actually burn my nose to be in there. So when I first started trying the sunlight and infrared, what I found was that it was extremely comfortable. It's something that's meant to be enjoyed versus endured. So when you get into our saunas, the heat is so nurturing, is the best word I can think of, that I always felt like comfortable and taken care of. And when you're coming from a very stressed mental state with a lot of anxiety, being somewhere where you feel like you can exhale and let your guard down and just relax is the best feeling. So that was number one. Just I didn't even realize how much anxiety and how much tension I had until I started coming to the sauna on a regular basis. And I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, like I didn't even realize my shoulders were like up by my ears. And now they're actually relaxing, which makes me feel less stressed during the day because I have less pain in my back from holding so much tension.
Hmm.
And the other thing it made me realize is just to step back and slow down my thoughts and how much better I felt when I was in a clear, calm state to make decisions versus a tired, anxious state. And I was happier because of that. So taking that time to relax was so important to me that I didn't even realize I needed it.
That's great because I like to talk about the physical detoxification, which is so
Mm-hmm,
apparent when you use a really good infrared sauna. But you are bringing in another point, which is the emotional detoxification and the emotional and mental de-stressing, which of course affects us physically as well. We're all, they're all connected. But
mm-hmm,
you're not only releasing toxins when you're sweating out, you're perspiring out those heavy metals, and you're also allowing yourself to detoxify that stress and
mm-hmm.
anxiety. That's something I've heard is that people notice a mood shift when they
Yes.
start using saunas. Have there been any studies, or can you share anything anecdotally about how
Mm-hmm,
sauna therapy, if used on a regular basis, can help with depression or anxiety or other
mm-hmm.
known sort of mental and emotional health issues?
Absolutely. First of all, whenever you're when you're in a stress state, your body runs off two systems. So you have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So when you're in that sympathetic state, that's that fight or flight, you are like really quick and you're edgy and you have got to get stuff done, and it's just that as if somebody was chasing you. You're kind of out of breath and you're always stressed and you're nervous and you're anxious. And when you get into the sauna, there's really not much you can do. It forces you to sit back and relax, and as a result, your body switches over into the parasympathetic system, which is what you're in when you're in a deep sleep. So that's the system where your body rests and recovers. So by forcing yourself into the sauna, first of all, and just relaxing and calming and taking deep breaths, you're naturally bringing your stress levels down. Then you're allowing your body to start recover and repair itself because it doesn't have to worry about staying alive. It can just sit back for a while. And because of that, and you feel kind of safe, you're in, like I said, it's such a nurturing environment that it naturally brings up endorphins. So some of the hormones that are excreted through your system or that your body puts out are the dopamine, which is that feel good kind of high effect. So that comes out during infrared treatments. Also oxytocin, which is another kind of high, happy feeling, serotonin, and then you have your endorphins. So all of those are released as you're in a really good quality infrared system, which are the same. If you were to take an antidepressant, those are the same synthetic kind of materials that are in the drugs. Your body will produce them naturally when you're in an infrared sauna.
Ooh, I love it. I imagine people who are having to go through depression or addiction, or that they're up against that. Maybe even people who are turning to food, food addiction, food for comfort. Even maybe they don't call it an addiction, but they know that they're turning to sugar or alcohol
Mm-hmm.
to self-medicate because
Mm-hmm.
there's some unhappiness in their life, and so they're finding that when they turn to sugar or alcohol, that it increases your dopamine temporarily. So we temporarily get that sort of that antidepressant feeling from
Mm-hmm.
by self-medicating with sugar or alcohol or drugs. And what you're saying is that there's other ways that we can do it naturally. I know that exercise, when we exercise for a certain amount of minutes a day, it can release those endorphins. And then being in a sauna, although isn't it kind of like we're exercising when we're in the sauna? Because I heard that you can burn something like 500 calories a session.
Yes, actually, that is true. Although I don't agree with the calories per session because that depends on each person. So every body type is very, very different. So I prefer to say that you will burn calories when you're in there, but I hate to put a number on there because some people grasp on there. And if I can't be 100% correct, I hate to throw any kind of numbers out there. But what happens is with infrared, it warms your body from the inside out. So instead of heating the the air around you like a traditional sauna, the infrared heat is actually going to penetrate your body and create kind of a false fever. And in doing that, it helps improve your circulation. So, since your heart is beating a little bit faster, it's a passive cardiovascular workout. So, it's a wonderful thing to use if you have any injuries or if you have any joint problems or muscle problems where you can't go to the gym or you can't go for a walk because it's painful. Using the sauna will, number one, help you burn more calories. It'll also help improve your heart. And number two, it's going to help you lose some weight and also detox a lot of the toxins that are residing in your system. So it's going to help on a complete level. So it's not just fixing the symptom, it's finding the root issue and helping that as well.
Very cool. And then you get the added benefit of feeling incredibly happy in there and out of
Yes.
there. I gotta say I'm a little bit addicted to my Sunlighten Sauna. I feel so good when I'm in there. It feels like a really like a warm blanket around me, like a hug. It does
Yes.
not feel painfully hot. It just feels nice and warm, like this warm hug. I'm one of those people that does not like the heat. I normally have the AC on, like if it's 71 degrees or like 22, 23 Celsius, I'm like turning the AC on. I'm like, I don't, I'm from Canada, man. Like I'm used to like negative, give me -40, give me 6 feet of snow over, 100 degrees. Cause I used to live in Vegas. So I can tell you, I've been on both sides of the spectrum and I prefer cold, but I love the sunlight and it gradually that heats up, it just this nice gradual. So even when it gets to, and mine gets to about 130 degrees, even at just like 115, I start sweating. It's not that hot. And it's really what's fun about it for me is I can watch Netflix or Hulu, I can listen to music, I can read my book. Like I'm doing something in there that's relaxing and fun. And at the same time, I'm sweating out these toxins, I'm getting these endorphins, I'm getting a cardiovascular workout. Like it's while I'm sitting
Yeah.
there enjoying it, right? And sometimes I bring in the dry brush and do some dry brushing, which
Ah,
exfoliates and it's
I
right.
love dry brushing. Love
Absolutely.
dry brushing. So I have a tip for you we can talk about with dry brushing. So if you do it either before you go into the sauna or during, before you get really sweaty, and then when you get out and take a shower, if you use a really nice organic jojoba or organic sesame oil, like an abhyanga from Ayurveda, your skin will glow for days. It's wonderful. It's so good for your skin.
I'm gonna have to implement what you just said, but I noticed the first month I started using the sunlight and that my skin became so soft. Like I couldn't stop touching my arms. I'm like, they're so soft. What's going on?
Yes.
And I didn't do anything different. I just sat in the sauna. Like I did not add any products or jojoba or whatever. I just like sat in the sauna and then would always take a shower right after. And that's it. I don't even think I was incorporating the dry brushing at that point. I just noticed that being in the sauna, and I was doing it almost every day, at least 4 to 6 days a week in the evenings. I kind of like feel my body, and if I don't feel like I've hydrated enough throughout the day, I won't get in it because I just know I need
Right.
to
That's
drink
smart.
water. I need to drink water throughout the day if I want to get in the sauna every day. And but I noticed that my skin became really soft. Can you explain why is that? And it's still soft, by the way, but it was just like this amazing transformation within the first month that my face is softer, like just smoother and softer. My arms are softer, like everything. And my skin just feels like it's not rough. It's not dry.
Yes. It's a
Why
new
is that?
skin.
Yeah, why is that?
It's actually fascinating technology that only Sunlighten has. So we have two types of saunas. So in the infrared sauna world, there's a far infrared sauna, which is what just about every single infrared sauna is on the market. The far infrared is the wavelength that's going to penetrate deepest into your body. So that's when we talk about a detoxification and raising your core temperature. That's what the far infrared wavelength does. What Sunlighten does as well, we have a whole other line of saunas, which you have one of, that in addition to the far infrared, it also offers mid infrared wavelengths and then the near infrared. So, near infrared is all skin health. And the really cool story, which I love telling, is the near infrared that we pulse out in our sauna is actually no light, it's no heat. It's delivered through LED bulbs in the walls of the sauna. So you're not going to get hot, you're not going to sweat from using the near infrared. And the way that we or that it was discovered to deliver near infrared is a scientist was hired by NASA and the Navy SEALs to figure out the best way to help astronauts recover if they got cut in outer space because they're out of the atmosphere. So if you go out of our atmosphere and you cut your arm, it could be fatal because we don't have the atmosphere to help your body, your blood clot and your skin heal. And the same thing in submarines. So if a Navy SEAL or someone in the Navy is in the submarine for long periods of time and they get burned or they get cut, it can really be a dangerous situation. So what this scientist found was delivering the near infrared wavelength via LED bulbs. So no light, no heat. It looks like a light bulb that's turned off at 880 nanometers of energy will heal skin. So it'll help collagen production. It'll help heal wounds. I use it for sunburn, and it's the most effective way to help skin. So that same technology that's in space stations and in submarines is what's in our saunas.
That is so cool. Now, can anyone go out and get this kind of LED bulb, or is it really like it's so scientific and so specific that only Sunlighten has it in their saunas?
You know, there are some LED companies or that sell kind of near infrared for skin health, but they don't always have the right energy that's pulsing out. So you have to be careful, kind of like you said in the beginning, of buyer beware. In the health and wellness and beauty industry, you can make a lot of claims and not have to back them up. With us, everything we do is backed up with science and with technology and with third party companies who test our saunas and the delivery rates. So we can tell you for sure that our LEDs are at the optimal level to deliver the most amount of skin health benefits. And we can't say that about any other company.
Now, in terms of healing the skin,
Mhm.
uh, can you talk about what kind of skin conditions? So, like, how about eczema, psoriasis,
Mhm.
acne? Obviously anti-aging, so those who want, like you said, it helps with collagen production. So those who have wrinkles, who would like to support having less wrinkles or prevent more
Hmm.
wrinkles. But have you heard any success stories around like acne or psoriasis
Hmm.
or eczema?
Absolutely. So all of those things. So fine lines and wrinkles, wounds, sunburn, acne, psoriasis, some types of rashes, even. So what near infrared does, it focuses on the skin, but it still goes underneath your skin. So it's not just surface. So when the energy goes through there, it's really going to help a lot of the areas. So kind of a whole body treatment, and it helps reduce inflammation. So any kind of rashes or itching or problems that you're having, the near infrared on a regular basis is going to make improvements. Our owner, Connie Zach, likes to call it the vanity wavelength because it does help with fine lines and wrinkles as well, which is important. But if you have issues like this summer, I went out and had some sunburn on my shoulders, and I thought, I'm just going to go in the sauna and I'm not going to have any heat on. I'm just going to use the near infrared. And within a day, my sunburn was dramatically different.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's so cool. And it still blows my mind. And it's the funny thing is at Sunlighten, whenever anybody has an injury or if they have surgery or something, we all get excited, like, take pictures and then use the near infrared so we can use them on the website. So there's a bunch of employees' pictures of before and after all over.
Uh, Now you mentioned third party testing. I really believe in that. Like the supplement companies that I align myself with and that my family takes for the last 7 years, anytime I go to incorporate a supplement, I look at that. I want to make sure that the company is honest, that they're completely an open book, and that they want third party unbiased testing to show their purity, to show that what they actually say they're selling you is what they're selling you. This is part of the due diligence that we need to do. Uh,
Mhm.
once we kind of wake up and realize, it is scary out there. There's a lot of, there's saunas sold at Costco with toxic glue. Like
Yes,
it's
and wood.
yeah, toxic glue and wood from, China or whatever. And we just really need to be careful. I remember when I was shopping for a crib for our son, um, we went to a few of those more boutique shops, shop locally, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And they told us, it is really scary because if you just go to the big box stores, they don't use they use glue that's off gassing. They use paint that's off gassing, and
Right.
it's not all certified, non-toxic glue. Like you have to go out and seek that. You have to really
Right.
be diligent. So we did. So we were very diligent, and we spent probably a few $100s more than I wanted to, but we got a crib that was non-toxic. And I'm definitely that's we're keeping this crib if we're having another kid. Like I'm like this is the last crib I'm buying. And I've lent it out to a friend. This crib's gonna get passed around a few times. But that's just the thing. We spend a few hundred more dollars. We get something high quality that's not going to off gas, that's not going to, put more toxins into our environment. And because we've done that, it's something that's also going to last a long time.
Right. And you would get better benefits because of it. So
Right.
the problem that I have with lower priced infrared saunas in this case is a lot of the people who come to us are suffering from some kind of illness or condition. And if you've never had chronic pain or if you've never been, depressed because of an illness that doesn't let you leave the house or you can't get a job because you're ill, you don't realize how stressful that is and how much more it adds to your life than just the illness. So if that person is going to go out to a big box store and buy something and read online about the benefits of infrared heat, and they think, oh, well, I can get one of these locally and just throw it in my truck and bring it home. The problem is they're not going to get the results that they read about. In order to get those results, you have to have, number one, well-made product. Number two, a product that doesn't use any toxic substances, like you said. A lot of those really low priced infrared saunas are made with hemlock, which we don't use because people have said in the beginning we were using it 19 years ago, and people would call up and say, I turn on your sauna and my eyes and my nose burn and all of that. And it also doesn't stand up to heat very long. So once we figured that out, we got rid of hemlock completely. And now we have a fragrance free, hypoallergenic option for people who are really struggling with health. So it always breaks my heart when someone puts money that they don't really have because they've tried so many things to remedy themselves into something that's also not going to work because they're just trying to save a few bucks. Like that breaks my heart.
Absolutely. And then it gives saunas a bad name.
It does. It does. And there are so many saunas out there that are made with woods that are on the toxic wood list. So anybody can go to Google and type in toxic wood list and you'll see the list of woods that cause, respiratory problems and skin problems and eye problems. And you really have to pay attention to that. And a lot of these manufacturers ignore it because those woods are cheaper to use.
Oh my gosh. Just
It's sad.
scary. Yeah.
It's sad.
Now, what about EMF? So that was my
Mhm,
other thing. Before I found Sunlighten, a naturopath had turned me on to a different company, and I gave
mhm.
them a call. First of all, I found them to be incredibly pushy, and I felt like I was at a used car sales lot, like the level of pressure to buy right now. And I'm like, listen, this I'm making doing my research. This is a large purchase. And they
Yeah.
were really pushy, and that kind of threw me off. But I was like, you know what? I'm just here to gather the information. And what I got from them was their sauna was, I don't know, like let's say it was about $4,000, but if you actually wanted low EMF, you had to pay another like $800.
Mhm.
And it didn't sit well with me because I thought, so you as a company ethically are okay with selling something that's high EMF, so electromagnetic pollution, basically, you're okay with that. And then you have to pay that company to make a healthy version of what they sell. And I
Right.
and I was like, this is obviously not the company for me. And what I really like about Sunlighten is 100% of your products are low EMF and
Correct.
really responsible. So that someone who's very sensitive won't have an issue with using it. Especially in the solo system is one that people can actually, if they don't have enough room in there, so if they have a condo or an apartment or a small house, they don't have room for a full-on, wooden sauna. They can get the solo system, which they lay in sort of like a cocoon. You lay down on a mat, and I was really impressed how you guys developed that to be non-toxic and to be low EMF because they're so close to the heating plates.
Yes, yes. So the Solo is one of my favorite products because it's so effective and so many people can use it. Like you said, when you have people in New York or in apartments, they just don't have space a lot of times for a big cabin unit. So the Solo is something that is portable. When it's not in use, you can store it in a closet. So it telescopes up and down to fit the size of the person. And you just lay it on your floor. So, and it comes with a mat if you want. So there's an infrared heating pad that you would lay on. That's a memory foam. So you're getting this wonderful infrared heat from the whole back side of your body radiating up. So all along your lower back and like down your hamstrings that gets so tight. And then on top of you, you have these domes of infrared that again are so nurturing and gentle and make you feel like you're in the most comfortable sleeping bag that you don't want to move from, and is exceptionally healthy and great, great, great for detox. And that product is actually considered an ultra low EMF. It's zero point 0.6. So it's really good for people who have sensitivities to that. And then the fabric that we use on the pad as well as the domes itself is a carbonized bamboo,
Whoa.
and it's completely non-toxic.
That's cool.
It's yes, it's very, very safe. And we've actually had a lot of our naturopaths call up and they say, we're so sensitive to smells. Like anything that you have with a smell, don't even try it with us. And I'm always like, just try the Solo. If you don't like it, you could always send it back. And 100% of them call me up after a few weeks and they're like, this is the best product ever.
That's
So
so
many people
cool.
can use it. And it's wonderful. It's just really, really effective and the lowest price product that we have. So for me, if I was ever talking to somebody who had really serious health issues and was on a budget, bar none, start with the solo and you will get excellent results and you're going to feel so good.
That's awesome. And I heard it was so funny. I interviewed Dr. Mark Hyman, and
Yes.
he has a solo system because he has a small condo, and so he's like, I can't have this big wooden thing. I have the big wooden thing. I love it.
Yeah.
That's the one I got. I got the it's a personal one person sauna, but it's actually it's kind of like a TARDIS in that it's
Yeah.
always bigger on the inside. Like it fits in a corner of our guest bedroom, and so it's totally fits just in the corner off in the side, and yet my husband and I can both fit in it, and I thought that was really
Hmm.
cool. And then our son can sit on our lap, so all three of us can fit in this thing, and that's the smallest
Yeah.
wooden system. I thought that was really neat. So um
Yeah, and then also Dr. Hyman, so the story with him, and he's told this publicly, so I'm not revealing any secrets, but he had our cabin unit for many years and loved it, and then moved into a house where he had a mold problem. And we heard about that, so we sent him the Solo, and he said he used it on a daily basis, and it helped get the mold out of his system. So he is a huge fan of the Solo. So I have
Awesome.
to ask you, Ashley, is there a program on the Aspire model that you have that you use?
I like playing around with the different programs, but lately I actually just turn it on full blast and sit there.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'll have a trick for you afterwards we can talk to that I can give you a little way to hack it to have a different experience as well.
Okay, cool. I saw that there's a way to do custom programs. I started out by doing the detox program, and I love it. I love the detox program. And I played with the other ones because I know there's like a cardiovascular one, and there's a relaxation and anti-aging program. And
Hmm.
the one that I just mostly do is the detox one, which is about, I think, 45 minutes long. But I
Hmm.
have just more recently just decided to turn on full blast and just sit in there for a long. I just really love sitting in there, so I'll stay there for a whole hour. But I
Yes.
worked my way up to it because like I remember when we first talked, you were like, I was like, how long can I stay in this thing? You're like, well, let's just start with like 10, 15 minutes, see how you do. And I think I remember writing you guys and being like, how many times a day can I do this?
Yes,
What-
you did. It was like, ease up there, Ashley. You're
I
getting
was like,
carried
can I do
away.
this twice a day? It was so delicious. It was so much fun that I just
Yes.
wanted to go in and out of the sauna all day. But no, I discovered very quickly that you can become dehydrated if you don't, pay attention
Yes.
to your fluid intake. And so, yeah, I've had to up my water intake. But no, I really love it. It fills me with joy. It's my moment, it's my hour of peace. It's something that is has been actually the most effective health habit. How do I say this? Like the self-care. We keep hearing about how important self-care is. And for, I don't know, busy moms, working women, it is really hard to carve out that hour for yourself where like no one comes and bugs you. And so when you're like in a dome or in a you're in a sauna, like I close that door. My husband knows, like she's in there, and it's my turn to play with our son. I mean, it's his. My husband knows it's his turn to play with our son because that's my me time, right? But if I were to like go grab a book and sit on the couch, eh, you know, eh, I would get interrupted like 100 times. But if I'm in the sauna, I don't get interrupted because they know this
Right.
is my sauna time. And so it creates intention for that self-care, de-stressing, hour in your day or half an hour, whatever program you choose to use in your day.
Mhm. One of the things that I like to talk about, because I give a lot of speeches and presentations around the country to different wellness groups and different women's groups, different businesses. I remember when a few years after September 11th happened, and I was in New York City, and we went down to see Ground Zero. And at this time, they were rebuilding. And I remember looking down into the hole where they were building the foundation and was really shocked at how deep that hole was. And so, what I took away from that is in order to go as high as you can in your life, it depends how strong your foundation is. And when I'm using the infrared sauna, when I go in, I think of it as I am creating a really strong foundation by making my body as healthy as it can be. So that way, whatever I dream and wherever my goals are, I feel like I'm coming from a really strong place to go get it.
Very
No matter
cool.
what you do and what lifestyle you have, you can't get rid of the toxins that are in our world today. And the deep sweat that you experience when you're in our patented infrared heaters allows you to get rid of all the garbage that you don't need and just hold on to the things that are essential in your life. And isn't that a great place to come from? Like,
Nice.
who wants to bring garbage when you're trying to build a family or a life or a business or whatever your goals are and whatever is important to you? Your chance of achieving that is better when you come from a really strong foundation.
I love it. That's funny. I was just on a coaching call with a wonderful woman, and I was telling her, she's like, I love your show. I listen to it all the time, but I don't know where to start. I listen to one guest and they tell me do one thing, and I listen to another guest, they tell me another thing. She started rattling off every episode she listened to and all the things she was doing from every episode. And I get it. She goes, I don't know where to start. And I said, it starts with a foundation. You have to build a foundation of health, and that comes with some basics. And so I gave her the breakdown of what the absolute foundation is, and for her. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, great. And now she's going to go off and do it and get back to me. But like everyone should sleep, should carve out healthy amounts of time for sleep for them, more than seven
Mm-hmm.
hours, right? 6 hours is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everyone needs to take at least an hour a day to decompress, to de-stress, that personal me time. It's so
Mm-hmm.
so important to for the immune system, for everything, to make sure that you're spending at least an hour a day for yourself. It's so important to move our bodies, and being in the sauna does that too, in a sense that it also is doing the same thing. It's moving the lymph, it's helping the immune system, it's helping the cardiovascular system. And everyone needs to eat enough vegetables. There's just that you can't, there's no supplement in the world that's going to replace everything that vegetables give us. So enough being meaning 1 to 2 cups per meal every day, plus extra snacks. Like you can snack on some raw vegetables, or some, snack on some vegetables in between meals if you get hungry. And that fills us up, and then we stop eating as much junk, which is good. And then supplements when needed, because almost everyone needs a vitamin D supplement. There's some mineral supplements that most people need. So those are kind of like the foundation, and that's just the basics. And now we need to look. Oh, and did I mention water? Drinking enough water.
And good quality
Good
water. I am
quality
such a
water.
water fanatic
Yes.
that when somebody gives me a bottle of water and it's in one of those crinkly, soft water bottles, it just makes me cringe because I think of all the phthalates that I'm going to be ingesting. And I think, oh
Microplastic.
my God, yes, it scares me so much. I can't even believe that they allow those water bottles anymore.
No, I've got my hydro flask right here beside me. I love this
Nice. I've
thing.
got mine is glass,
Nice.
so I save that. But whenever I travel, I always feel like I can't wait to get back to work so I can detox from all of the chemicals I've just ingested. And one thing I want to add to your foundation, which I learned from you and listening to you learn True Health, I think it's crucial for people to add energy bits
Oh,
to their
yes.
diet because I am so in love with spirulina and chlorella, but the energy bits because they're lead free. And I've actually spoken with so many people about energy bits, and I give them the LTH code so they can get their 20% off.
Nice.
So there's a lot of people now introduced to that because of your show. And I listened to that show several times because there was so much information and I absolutely love it.
That's so cool. So now you started eating the energy bits, the spirulina and the chlorella. Did you notice a difference?
Yeah.
What did you notice shifted in your life when you started incorporating spirulina and chlorella?
I have to tell you, so in all honesty, there's a lot of things that I try just because I'm in the world, so I get introduced to a lot of different things. And it is very, very, very rare to actually feel something from anything that I've taken. Because a lot of times people will say, "Oh, you take this and you're going to feel so good," and I take it and I feel exactly the same. So I didn't really believe that I would feel different, and I started with the chlorella, and I would take them at night. And number one, I found that I slept more restful, like deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And when I woke up in the morning, the only way I can describe it is I felt restored, like I had a recovery session overnight. And I also felt sharper. So it wasn't like a drugged feeling. It wasn't like, I took something and, I'm kind of antsy for a while. It was just a very sharp, alert, awake feeling.
I love it.
And when I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym. I go really early, so like 5 in the morning. So I get tired during the day. So when I was taking chlorella for a few weeks, I found that I didn't get tired in the afternoon. And then I was just sleeping so good at night. And then a few weeks later, I started adding spirulina. So I'll do the spirulina in the morning as an energy aid. And I feel fantastic all day. Sometimes, if I have a really busy day or if I'm traveling, I'll also take some at lunch or I'll take it as a snack. And it really helps with hunger. So if you're traveling and you're in airports, it's so hard to eat well, or else you're going to pay like $5 for a banana or a piece of fruit at any of the vendors. The spirulina is a great thing because when you buy it, you get these little tins that you can
Yep.
bring it with
I got mine
travel.
right here.
Yes, I love that. So they come with me and they help me with hunger. And I just feel like I have an energy that's not caffeinated because I can't do caffeine. I hate that jittery,
Mm-hmm.
nervous feeling. So it's not that. It's a very natural endurance where I feel awake and alert and then restored.
That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. I love it because it's like when I do something and I notice these differences, I'm like, is this really me? Is this really happening? I kind of pinch myself.
Yes.
And then I hear someone else like mirror what my experience and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's not just me. This is actually like really working." Oh, that's
Yes,
so
and
cool.
it's funny because I was talking about it to a friend of mine who's very big into health and wellness, and I said, "You have to start with chlorella. You just have to try this," because like I was shocked for me because I really don't expect things. I'm kind of cynical in our industry because so many things don't work.
Yep.
And I said, I don't even want to tell you because I don't want to kind of plant anything in your head, but tell me how you feel after a couple days. The very next day he called me up and he said, "I haven't slept like that in years." And I woke up and he said, "I just feel like I woke up and I thought, I'm awake and I'm ready to go." It wasn't like I need to lay in bed for a
Right.
little bit more and kind of get the sleep out of my head. He's like, "I just woke up and I was ready to start my day." And then
That's
I was like,
amazing.
"LTH, when you're buying it, use the 20%
Use the
off."
LTH coupon code. Yeah, go to energybits.com, use the LTH coupon code. I love asking companies to give discounts to the listeners. I know I did with Sunlighten. I know you guys have a great
Yes.
discount for the listeners who want to buy a sauna. I just love asking guests to give us a discount, because we're a big cohort of health people and that want to jump on board and try their stuff, and darn it, we deserve a discount. So I just love that. And that coupon code never expires. So you can every month you can buy from Energy Bits, buy the spirulina and chlorella and always get that discount.
I love it.
So what's interesting is that those who experience better sleep, it's because they had a amino acid deficiency. Now you could sit there and go, "Well, I eat chicken or I eat whatever," right? But that doesn't mean that your body is functioning optimally in your digestion and absorption and your utilization of nutrition. And chlorella and spirulina, they're already their nutrition that's in there is so readily available that we absorb it easily and utilize those amino acids that are the raw building blocks to make melatonin. So those who take the spirulina and the chlorella from Energy Bits and then they notice this difference in their sleep, that actually means that they're now getting that amino acid that they weren't having enough of. And so their body's finally making enough melatonin. So it's actually helping the body come back into balance by bringing in the nutrition it was lacking. And
I
so
love
it's
that.
not a supplement, because I think I was corrected
Right.
like
It's a
3 times.
crop.
It's a crop, it's not a supplement. So it's eating like a vegetable basically. So just it's a
Yes.
little they look like aspirins, they're little pills, but you actually chew them. My son loves them. My son's, and he's kind of picky, and we call them green crackers because they'll make your tongue turn green. It's a lot of fun. He'll actually he'll get his chair, little tiny, 3-year-old chair. He'll bring it to the cabinet. He'll stand on the chair. He'll get up high enough, grab the bag of energy bits, come back down and come up to me and be like, "Can I have some?" And so I have to
Oh, that's
open
so
it for him and everything.
cute.
Oh yeah, no, he fully on like initiates his little, dosage of eating them. I think you would like to know that a naturopath at the Dr. Klinghart's clinic, the
Uh-huh.
Sophia Health Institute, told me, and this is per Dr. Klinghart, she said that when they tell their patients to get into a sauna, to use sauna therapy, because they see people on their deathbed, they turn around cancer, like they help people
Right.
heal like major stuff, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
these people who are suffering from these unknown, undiagnosable weird things, right, come to Dr. Klinghart, and he says, okay, you got to do sauna therapy as part of it, we got to detoxify you. And he has them do this special routine, and what he has them do is he has them drink a glass of water and eat about 30 chlorella tablets, and then get
Yes, because
into
it's
the
a
sauna,
chelator.
right, exactly, and then get into the sauna until you start sweating, so until beads of sweat come off. So you could be in there for about 15-20 minutes until those beads of sweat come off, and then once you notice that you're sweating, you stay in there for 5 minutes. They said 10 minutes max, so like 5 to 10 minutes you sweat, then you get out, take a quick shower just to like rinse it off. You go lay down and drink a glass of water for about 20 minutes. Leave the sauna on, and then you repeat 2 or 3 more times. So then go back in the sauna. And of course you're still warm, so it's going to take less time for you to sweat. You go back in the sauna, you wait till you sweat. Once you start sweating, you only stay in there for 5 more minutes. Then you get out, get in the shower really fast, lie down, drink another glass of water, and just hang out and just rest. Just lay down and rest, and then do it again for a third time. So that
Mhm.
might take, for some people, depending on how long it takes you to sweat, that might be a 90-minute routine. But those are the people who are really sick, come to see them, and they see incredible results with
Yes.
that. Of course, when you shower, you actually shower with as cold water as you can stand. So, not hot water. It's like it could
Right.
be room temperature, it could be a little bit cooler, as cool as you can stand. And yeah, so that is Dr. Klinghart's prescription for saunas, and it incorporates chlorella, which I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and he actually recommends Sunlighten. So we're the only saunas that he recommends to his patients and to the people who come to see him. So we're really proud of that relationship and take part in all of his events. He's really a wonderful guy and so high in demand. It's wonderful that he's doing what he's doing and helping so many people.
That is so neat. And it's funny, he's in my backyard. I live 10-15 minutes away from his clinic, and I watched him move into his clinic in Woodinville, but because I lived a block away from his clinic back then when he moved in 2012. So I thought that was really neat that he's in my own backyard. It turns out he's like this amazing international sensation of a holistic practitioner. Uh,
Yes, he travels the world
right.
on a regular basis.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned a third party test. So let's get back to the science a little bit, and just
Okay.
let's talk to some skeptics. Let's imagine that there's some skeptics. I hope people are skeptical. I'm always like this open-minded skeptic. I want to do my due diligence. I want to look into the research. I don't want to just take things on blind faith, because that's where we
Mhm.
can really mess up. Not 100% of the
Mhm.
time, but there's just if we just take everything on blind faith, that's how stuff kind of messes up, right? So we need to
Mhm.
we need to do our due diligence. So let's talk to the skeptics and talk about the evidence that
Yes.
you guys have, that to prove that Sunlighten is a company that is worth investing in for their health, and that it's proven.
Yes. So, one of the first clinical studies that we have, and by the way, all of our clinical studies are listed on our website, so we don't try to hide from anything or, make claims that we can't back up. So everything's front and center. If anybody ever has any questions on how to find it, I'm Alicia at sunlighten.com and I can send you links. But the first one is a clinical study that was third party, randomized, double blind, placebo controlled in an independent lab, and it was done at UMKC. And what it showed was that Sunlighten's infrared heat had a statistically significant difference in people's blood pressure. So the systolic blood pressure decreased from an average of 130.5 before the study to about 124 at the completion of the study. And the study was based on using the sauna 3 times a week for 30 minutes for 6 weeks. So that's dramatic when you consider how many drugs people go on to manage their high blood pressure.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many people on blood pressure medication. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can help someone naturally to bring the body back into balance, obviously the sunlight and I mean being in that sauna is helping the body to correct something.
Exactly. By gently warming it up and warming your core, that's what's helping your circulation improve. And as your circulation improves, you get so many benefits kind of downstream because of that. So, first of all, it's going to help your blood pressure. So, it's going to be heart health. The second thing it's going to do, if you have any aches and pains, so in muscles or joints or chronic pain, fibromyalgia, it's when you help your circulation, that helps reduce inflammation because your blood is moving faster. So inflammation is going down. So it's going to ease any pain that you're on. For people with Lyme disease, they get what's called Lyme brain or like a brain fog. Helping your circulation helps move that blood through your brain faster so you have less of that brain fog and that kind of out of it feeling. So it's really, there's so many benefits that come from helping your circulation. It's more than just, blood pressure.
And in terms of the third party test to prove that you guys are not toxic, or can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our bamboo carbon safety that was done by SGS. So it shows that, for example, in our solo, everything is non-toxic. And again, this is a third-party test that they tested every single fabric, like every thread, every adhesive that we use, the wiring that we use. So everything was tested, and it came back that it was a non-toxic, safe substance for people to be around. And then in terms of our wood, we don't use any kind of sealers or resins when we're finishing our sauna. So it's all natural wood. We'll use kind of a water-based finish on the outside just to make sure that it doesn't, get nipped or dinged or anything. But it's a very natural wood. So when anybody's buying a sauna, and I'm sure when Stacy was talking with you, Ashley, she probably said, there might be some imperfections in the wood because that's how we want it. We want it to be as natural as possible without any chemicals. Anytime you have a resin or a glue or a paint or anything like that, and you heat it up, and then you're in an enclosed environment where you're breathing in those scents and gases, that is not healthy. So if you're going in there for a health reason, you're basically adding a bigger load on your body by using the sauna versus having it make you be healthier.
Right.
So we don't use anything like that. And we're also a sustainable wood. So from an eco perspective, we work with farms that believe in reforestation, and we're trying to make sure that it's wellness for Mother Nature as well as wellness for people who use it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Are there any other really interesting studies or third party tests that a skeptic should be aware of?
There was one that was done by University of Auburn, which I really love because they found that using our 3-in-1 sauna, so the impulse sauna like that you have, helps improve mobility and flexibility in people. So as people get older and they're a little bit unsteady on their feet, this is something that can help them get stronger and more stable as they're walking around. And I just think that's wonderful.
Oh, that's really cool. And so would someone have to use all three? So the three in one, the one I have has
Mhm.
far infrared, mid infrared, and the near infrared that you talked about, the near infrared from the special LED.
Mhm. Correct.
Now do all three combined have that effect on the joints and the muscles?
Yeah, so the mid infrared is the wavelength that targets soft tissue, muscles, and joints. So if you were to use the pain relief program or the weight loss program, I think even the cardio program has some mid infrared in there. Those will be great for helping with the mobility and flexibility. Or, like you said, you can create a custom program and just have the mid infrared on, or all three. So you're getting the highest dose of each one during your session.
Ah, very cool.
But again, remember that it's not every day. Like people hear stuff like this and they think, oh, I'm going to be living in that sauna. These tests were 3 times a week for 30 minutes for 6 weeks. So that's not an unreasonable amount of time.
Do you remember like how much more mobility people got, or I mean, was it significant?
They said it was up to 3 times more mobility.
Holy crow.
I know, it's amazing.
I love
It's
that.
really impressive. And just in today's world, I think every week I hear stories about how people are addicted to painkillers and medications and pharmaceuticals. And here's something that can naturally help reduce pain. Like, that's a wonderful thing to bring to somebody's life because there's only so many pills that you want to take. And you also don't want to be taking something for the rest of your life.
Do you,
So here's something that's enjoyable.
yeah,
And if you become addicted to it, it's a good thing.
right. Do you have any stories of success that you've heard? You've been around Sunlighten for a long time. I imagine you have stories of success of people getting off of their pain medication because they incorporated the Sunlighten system in their therapy.
I do. Actually, one of my coworkers is a wonderful, wonderful man, and he was a firefighter, a wildfire firefighter in California. And he was injured on the job about 5 years ago and had to go on disability because he was in such severe pain that he couldn't stand up. He couldn't get out of bed. He couldn't walk to the bathroom. And he was on horribly high amounts of pharmaceuticals just so he can stay in a reclined position, so not even have a life. And he slowly incorporated holistic treatments, and Sunlighten was the first one that he did. He would just use it a couple times a week because he was just in so much pain, and very gradual, probably 10 minutes he started with. And today he actually works here because he believes in the technology so much. And on a daily basis on Instagram, he shows his steps, and he's up to about 10,000 steps a day.
Wow, that is so cool. Do you know what his name is on Instagram so we can follow him?
I think it's Will Rock.
Nice. Okay, great.
I can
Well, I'll
pull
look
it
for
up.
Will Rock and see his progress. I heard you on a different interview. I heard you share a story about firefighters and how much they love the sunlight and something about detoxifying the smoke. Can you share that story?
Yes, and by the way, Will's Instagram is William Rock SEO.
Okay, there you go.
So you can. So firefighters is a group that I am so passionate about because as I've learned more about what they face, Ashley, it's so sad and so scary, and I love that we have something that can help them. So, the firefighting community has the highest rate of cancer diagnosis in the United States than any other job or industry. And the reason is they're around chemicals at very, very high temperatures. So, 60, 70 years ago, when a firefighter would go battle a house fire, they were basically battling, wood that was on fire and cotton and glass. It was natural fabrics and fibers. But today, there's so many synthetic materials that as they heat up, they have a toxic kind of load to them, and they cause a lot of carcinogens and they're easily absorbed into firefighters' bodies. So their cancer rates are astronomical compared to any other industry in the United States. And so we work with a lot of fire stations who are implementing our saunas into each station, and they have it as part of their detox protocol. So as a firefighter comes back from a fire, there's a whole list of steps that they have to go through in order to make sure the equipment is put away the proper wet place, to make sure that the fire is contained or put out completely. And also, how do they take off their gear to make sure that they don't touch areas of their clothes that are going to contaminate their skin? So there's some stations that actually, when they get back to the station, they stand in the middle of almost like a big garbage bag, and they peel off each level or each layer of clothes and drop it in the bag, and then lift the bag up over it so they don't touch it, because it's so dangerous for them to have on their skin. And here they are wearing it for hours and hours and breathing it in for hours and hours. So what we found is, normally firefighters come back and they do what's called a gross decontamination shower, where they get into a shower for about 15 or 20 minutes, and it's a very, very thorough, deep wash to get everything off their body, which you would think would make them really clean. Now what they do is they do that shower, and then they'll go into the Sunlighten Sauna for 15 or 20 minutes. And when they wipe their sweat, Ashley, it's like a grayish brown color.
Oh,
That's what's coming out of their skin. And then after the sauna, they do another shower in a cooler temperature, like Dr. Klinghardt recommends, to get all of those toxins out. So without the sauna, that gray brown stuff would be staying in their bodies, which is terrifying.
oh my gosh.
So the other cool thing that firefighters are noticing, if you've ever sat by a fire pit, you yourself start to smell like smoke, like it'll go in your hair, it'll go on your clothes, and also it goes up your nose. So for a couple days, when you inhale, you smell the smoke, and in addition, you smell like smoke to other people because it's kind of absorbed into your body. But if you do the infrared sauna after a fire, not only does the smell come out of your pores, so to other people you don't smell like smoke, it also comes out of their nose, so they're not breathing in the scent of smoke. So usually that's 2 or 3 days that smell is there, and now it's out of their body within 20 minutes of using the sauna. So that to me is such enormous proof that this is a great way to purge toxins out. And again, there's no way they're coming out unless you're doing this.
So they go into the sauna heavily smelling like smoke. And I know I've been by, campfires, and for days my hair, even I'll take a shower, my hair will still smell like smoke. Your
Yes,
clothing smells like smoke. And what about like people who smoke cigarettes?
yes, same thing.
They reek of cigarettes. Even if taking a shower, if they smoke like a now pack a day, they always smell, their sweat smells, their breath they smells,
Yes,
because the body is trying to eliminate those toxins. And so you're saying that a firefighter who has the smoke is inside him, like the toxins are
yes.
inside him. That's why he can take a shower and still smell like smoke for days. You're saying he gets in a sunlight and does the detoxification therapy, gets out, takes a shower, and he doesn't smell like smoke anymore.
Exactly. And it's out of his nose. So the funny thing is, a lot of the firefighters say to us, we love the sauna. It was great. But the downside is they all had to go out and buy new mattresses for their home, because now that they're smelling better, they would go home and realize that their mattress smells like smoke, because as you sleep, you kind of sweat, so that smell comes out into their mattress, but their nose was so clogged up with the same smell, they couldn't smell it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
now they're like, I go home and I realize my mattress smells like smoke, like a fire. So they all had to go out and buy new mattresses.
Oh, too funny. Too
Yes.
funny.
And then the other thing is interesting too, when you talked about smokers, there's so many stories of people who quit smoking, 10 or even 15 years ago. and they'll go into one of our saunas and they'll say, my sweat actually smells like smoke, because toxins actually reside deep in your fat tissue. It's in the adipose tissue. So a regular sweat, like if you got on the treadmill or went to the gym, that's not going to get the sweat out from those deep levels. What the Sunlighten does, what we have the patent on, is the ability to really deliver the most amount of that far infrared that's going to cause your body to purge. So whether you're coming back from a fire, whether you were a smoker, whether you were addicted to drugs at any time in your life or using drugs, it all is still in your body. So this is a great way to cause a major purge and get rid of it.
And what is it about Sunlighten that's different from other, like, I mean, we've talked, let's say because there's going to be other companies out there that are, that say they're non-toxic, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's
Mm-hmm.
different? Why is Sunlighten the best company to buy a sauna from to be able to detoxify the healthiest?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And this is the most important thing. I think if I was looking for an infrared sauna, what I would ask is, how much infrared are you delivering? So Sunlighten, the reason that we're medical grade is because we deliver the most amount of far infrared than any other infrared sauna company in the world. So we're the worldwide leaders in this industry, and we deliver between 95 to 99% infrared at the right channel that brings about health benefits. So everybody else is more around 15 to maybe 30%, and we're at 95 to 99%. So if you were going to take a medicine, if you had to take a pill to make you feel better, do you think you would get better from taking 95 to 99% of it or 15% of it? So using our products, you're going to get results faster, it's going to be more efficient, and it's going to be more effective than anything else you can do on the market.
Why are they so pathetic?
You know what? Because I'll say what we do to make ourselves different is we are constantly developing and innovating and coming up with ways to make our products better. So there's a lot of products that are on the market today that were the same technology when Sunlighten started, and we, got involved in this industry, and other companies started jumping up and doing what we were doing, and they had the same technology. And then we kept advancing, and they're still back where we were 19 years ago. And we just feel like as technology improves and knowledge improves, we always want to stay ahead of everybody else and come up with something that makes us stand apart from everybody else. And we're very proud of that. The sauna that you get today will not be the sauna that we have in 10 years or that we had 10 years ago. I mean, we've just learned so much in the industry, and we're very proud of that.
That's really cool. Tell me a bit about your R&D. I mean, I know you can't tell me about the super secret, things you're doing in the future. But is there anything you can tell us about what's on the horizon?
We have, towards the end of this year, a very, very cool product that's coming out that is going to be extremely effective for anybody with pain or skin problems that doesn't involve getting into a sauna.
What?
Yes.
Oh my
I will
gosh.
make
Is it
I'll make sure that you're on the
the need to know list?
on the introduction list.
Is it a machine? Are you allowed to tell me?
It's I'm not allowed to say. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but it's something that it's we have a beta version in our office, and we're all fighting over.
Oh,
So
what? Oh, that sounds
our
so
poor
cool.
marketing department is having a problem because they can never have the product because we're all using it.
Nice. Very cool. Excellent. Well, what I loved about Sunlighten for me is that you guys have great financing. I would not have been able to buy it had you not had financing. And I actually got approved for your financing. So those who are listening who are like, I don't know if I can afford this. What do you mean financing? I don't know. I don't have a good credit rating. I'm just saying, like, if you're interested, give them a call and just work with them, because you'll be pleasantly surprised that became affordable, that you guys made it really easy for me to buy one from you. Um, I have been struggling for years with this heavy metal toxicity, and it has been really frustrating. And so to finally find something that works for me, that I'm seeing results, and I'm finally seeing results, and it can take years sometimes to detoxify heavy metals safely and healthfully. But I'm seeing results, and you guys made it possible for me to do it, for me to afford it. And my husband put it together by himself. I know they say you're supposed to have two people put it together, but my husband put it together by himself. And I know you guys also help people who don't have a handy husband to put it together. You guys hook people up, or you guys can help people hire someone to put them together if they're going to buy the wooden system, right? The solo, there's no assembly. It's just it's
Yeah,
yeah.
the solar you plug
Yeah,
in.
you just plug, just lay in it and lie in it and plug in and go to town and enjoy. But yeah, so you guys make it, because I know a lot of people who buy these are disabled, in
Hmm.
pain, sick,
Hmm.
so they can't sit there and put together a giant sauna. So you guys, you work with everyone that calls, and wherever they are, you help them to get it set up and get it going. I've even talked to your tech support. I had a
Oh,
minor
great.
issue, and they were really helpful, and so nice. So I really like that. So that was a lot of
Yes.
fun, yeah. But I have to say,
Our customer service team gets excellent reviews on a daily basis. So it's so wonderful to hear that. It's one thing when I'm talking to someone and telling them about Sunlighten, and then, they get the product and they're not sure how it works, or they have questions or whatever, and to call in to not me, somebody else, and know that they're still getting excellent service is such a great feeling for
right,
me.
right, right. Now you have this additional thing. I didn't purchase it because we don't have post-traumatic stress, but I was really intrigued by it. There's this, can you tell us a little bit about the add-on that someone can get to the sauna for those who have
Hmm.
anxiety or post-traumatic stress, or in highly stressed out people, that you have some
Yes.
kind of audio system. Can you talk a bit about that and
Yes.
how it works?
Yes, yes. Oh, it's wonderful. And Connie Zach, our owner, it is one of her favorite things to use. And she'll even go into the sauna without any heat on, just fully clothed, and put on this sound system and completely relax and recharge. So it's called Sound, and basically it's a specific frequency that's been proven, clinically proven, to help bring down stress levels and return people to a state of calmness. And the cool thing that we did is we have the Sound music that's playing through the speaker. So every single sauna has a mechless stereo system included with it. So that's standard. You don't have to pay extra for that. And then the sound you can add, and it's just this really calm, wonderful wavelength that comes through and relaxes you. And then the really cool part is, because we always like to take things to the next level, we have sound hearts that attach to the bottom of the sauna. So they just screw in to the bench. So not only are you hearing this music, but you're also feeling it through a very, very subtle vibration. So it's a vibration sound healing. So if you ever did a crystal sound healing or a sound bath, it's that same kind of feeling. So it's almost like a musical massage where you're feeling the music, and then you have this wonderful infrared that is just wrapped around you, that you feel so safe and so cozy, and that feeling where you don't even want to move a muscle because you're so relaxed. And on top of that, we have something called chromotherapy, where you could have colored lights in the sauna. So I'll do like a really deep, deep blue. So having that sound in a beautiful blue color and feeling it, and then being so relaxed, is just, it feels like a treatment whenever you go into the sauna.
Very cool. And the interface is this giant Android tablet, so you can easily watch
Yes.
TV, or I pull up Spotify or Pandora, and to play music. Although you do have a CD and DVD player in there, For those who still know where their CDs are, I don't
I
know
know.
where did my CDs go. I have them somewhere. But yeah, I'm really happy with playing around with the Spotify or Pandora, and the sound system's actually really great in it. So I have no complaints. I'm happy with it like all around. You said there might be imperfections in the wood. I didn't notice them. It just looks like wood. And I chose to get the
Exactly.
cedar because I love the smell of cedar. I love it.
Me too.
Love the smell. It's like intoxicating. I love the smell of cedar. And so I enjoy it. But I know that there was the
And the
option.
cedar is still very light. It's not a very heavy
No.
cedar where
Right.
sometimes, like a cedar closet, sometimes it's hard to breathe. This is still a very subtle
It's a
cedar,
subtle, yeah.
wouldn't you say?
It's a subtle, it's subtle, but it hasn't gone away, which I like because I don't like it when when, and some natural smell just goes away. Like it naturally just very lightly smells of cedar because I've been in, those traditional cedar saunas, and growing up we had a cedar closet for all the winter jackets because again, Canada.
Right.
And I used to go in there and hide as a kid. It was kind of like a cocoon or a womb, and I just love the smell. So I really associate with being in a cedar closet, or now a cedar sauna, as something very powerful and relaxing. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah,
Yes,
awesome.
and then we also have, for the people who don't like cedar or if they're sensitive to smells, we do have two other woods that are fragrance free and hypoallergenic. So we've got all the bases covered.
Right, right. Now the units that you sell are fine for home use, but they're also strong enough for commercial use. Is that correct?
Yes, so we work with hotels around the world and fitness centers, medical clinics, and med spas. And those are the same products that you would buy and put in your house. So it's not like we have a lower grade for residential, it is all exactly the
And
same.
what I liked about that is because you guys make them so that someone could be getting in and out of the sauna all day long at a spa or at a medical center.
Mhm.
And so that a personal sauna is obviously being used less, is going to last a long time. Tell me about your warranty, to ensure if someone buys it, they want to know that if something breaks down in a few years, that it's covered.
We have a wonderful warranty for residents or residential. It's 7 years. So if anything goes wrong with the sauna in your 7 year window, it'll just be replaced for free. We ship out a new piece or a new part to you as needed. And then on the commercial side, it's 5 years. So we really stand by those products, and our products are meant to last decades. So, you get it, and it's something that you're going to have with you throughout your life.
It's very cool.
And then, of course, like you mentioned, we have our customer care that's available all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I'd love to hear, do you have any more stories of success, or like stories that just almost brought tears to your eyes, when customers called in and shared the difference that be this very specific sauna therapy, because Sunlighten, as you pointed out, is not like any other infrared system, because it has the full spectrum and because it puts out, 95% to 99%. So for those people who have these incredible experiences and they come and they share them with you, do you have any off the top of
Mhm.
your head that you could share with us?
I actually have so many because I travel so much, and people make a point to come up to me and say how much Sunlighten has changed their life. So most recently, I was talking with one of our customers who has our Solo, and she had one of the first models of the Solo that we developed. So she's had it for over 10 years, and she had cancer. So she was using it as part of her recovery because of all of the chemotherapy and the toxins that you're putting into your system. And she said that, number one, it took away the achiness that she felt from the chemotherapy. It made her energetic. So she felt like she could get through a day, whereas before she would just wake up and just feel like, oh my gosh, like, how do I even make it to lunch, let alone an entire day? And she would wake up in the morning, she'd roll out of bed and roll right into the Solo. She started using it 15 minutes a day, and then now she uses it an hour. And she said it just completely changed her life. It was like all of a sudden she plugged into an outlet and she had energy again, and she felt good, and she felt like, okay, now I have a new life ahead of me that I can see. Like, I have a future, whereas before I couldn't even imagine making it halfway through the day. Now I can imagine a future. And that is such a wonderful, wonderful recommendation from anybody to give them a future.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Um, any other stories of success? I just love hearing these stories.
I know, I know. I'm trying to think of. I'm sure as soon as we hang up, I'll think of some other ones. But well, of course, there's our owner's brother. So Connie's brother. The whole reason they got involved with this is he had a heavy metal toxicity due to a cavity that had broken loose and flooded his body, and he was very, very, very ill. And it was before the internet, and went through every single conventional treatment, and he got to the point where she said he was so weak he couldn't even get out of bed. And this was a 20 something year old guy, and his eyes were turning yellow. And he was told to try infrared as a last resort. And so they did. And it was not a very effective infrared, but he used it and slowly was able to get his health back. And that's what made them start Sunlighten, because they wanted to deliver a very high quality amount of infrared to help people.
And now, does he have a Sunlighten that he uses?
He has several.
I bet. I bet.
So yeah, we really, on a daily basis, we hear from people and we get reviews from people on how it's just made such a tremendous difference in their life. We work with people who have children with autism, and they use it as a way to help detox their children. And you hear stories about mothers, who were just devastated over the health of their children, and now all of a sudden their child is being, has energy again and has focus, and detoxing is part of that. So it's an effective way to do that. So we work with so many different health organizations, from Lyme to autism to heavy metals, chronic pain and fibromyalgia and heart, and you name it. It's just a wonderful, safe way for people to improve their health.
I interviewed Ryan Sternagel, who
Oh yes, his son.
his son, I think he was about 1 years old when he was diagnosed with cancer, and it was stage 4. The doctors were basically saying if he turns the wrong way, because these tumors were like in his nervous system, and they said if he turns the wrong way, he's dead. Like they could not believe um he wasn't displaying the symptoms that they thought he should, because he was so healthy. He wasn't a kid that just ate McDonald's. They were already like eating organic, and this kid was already very healthy and breastfed and everything. And so he was so healthy that his tumors didn't display the symptoms that doctors normally see. And so it kind of went a long time until it was finally diagnosed. And they used the Sunlighten. They had the solo, I believe he said in the interview that I published it probably 9 months ago. He said that they took the solo system when they traveled with him, because he needed some surgeries. Like, I think he needed a heart surgery or something, and they
Yes.
spent months on the East Coast in this hospital. And so they brought the solo system in, and so they kept up with the detoxification for their son. And his cancer, they used chemotherapy and all the traditional stuff along with the holistic stuff the first time the cancer was there, and then the cancer went away, and then they just stopped everything, and they're like, okay, the cancer's gone, yay. And then it came back, and it might have come back because chemotherapy, there is a chance that chemotherapy actually and radiation causes cancer, and so that's like secondary cancer from the treatment. And so what they did the second time was they said, and they, with the reluctant approval of the oncologist, they said, "Listen, we're gonna monitor the cancer, and we're gonna do it our own way. We're gonna do 100% holistic." So Sunlighten, they did every day. The son would sit in the sauna with him. Um, because when they're home, they're obviously with their solo system, the wooden one, and
Right.
not the soul system, the 3-in-1, the
Signature.
signature
Yeah.
system, the 3-in-1. I keep calling it the 3-in-1 because I remember there's 3 different
Yes.
infrareds. And so the Ryan described his son would sit with him in it, and they'd get a little sweat and my son, by the way, he loves it. He's 3.5 and
Oh, that's
he
lovely.
loves the sauna. He actually complains and cries when I don't let him in it because I'm like, okay, it's my mommy's turn to be in here, and he's like, but I want to be in there, and he'll stay in there, and it's hot, and he's sweating, and because I've got like cartoons playing or something, and I'm
Right.
like, are you too hot? And he's like, nope, no. I'm like, do you want to go watch these cartoons somewhere else? Yeah. And then he gets out and goes because I'm like, I know you're hot, and I know you're sweating, but he's like, he just loves it. Um,
Yes.
and but we don't want kids to be in there for an hour, so I have to kind of
Right.
push him out. He's like, no, I don't want to go. I like it. But yeah, the Ryan's son ended up beating his cancer the second time around 100% with natural medicine, with food, with supplements, with and these treatments like daily sunlight and usage to help the body detoxify and kill the cancer. And so I thought that was, I know you guys obviously can't claim your
Right.
system kills cancer because you would have the FDA coming after
All
you
over.
so fast.
Yeah.
But you've got a lot of these people sharing that it helped them with recovery, it helped them with the symptoms,
Yes, for
which is
sure.
so beautiful.
In fact, this weekend, recently, there's an organization called The Truth About Cancer, and they just sent out an email blast recommending Sunlighten, which they've done for several years, as the infrared sauna to help with the symptoms of recovery or just some of the byproduct of chemotherapy. So we work with many cancer organizations from that side, and we're just very honored to be a part of helping anybody feel better regardless of what they're dealing with.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So how does that work?
In terms of cancer.
No, in terms of like do people that should they call up and say, I what should I have cancer, what should I do,
Mhm.
or what should I use, or is there something separate that they should do or buy if they're specifically looking to work with that?
Our team is trained very, very well to work with each call that comes in because every person is different. So when someone calls in, they'll ask, why are you interested in getting a sauna? Is there something that you're dealing with? And if the person tells them, then we can really steer them to the best model for them, because some people honestly don't need the 3-in-1. What they really need is just the far infrared. So in that case, the solo or the signature line is perfect for them. For other people, the 3-in-1 is really what they need in order to get that near, mid, and far benefit. So we really like to talk with people instead of lumping them in like, oh, you have Lyme disease, so therefore you should buy this one. It's really not that's not the case, and we like to work with people's budget, and we don't want them to have any regret about buying this. We want it to be the right fit. So our team will spend a lot of time talking with you, hearing about why you're getting it, what your space is like, what can you fit, what your lifestyle is like, so we can give recommendations on how to use it. And then we could also recommend different people like yourself who recommend it, so they can start listening to your podcast so they can get educated.
Love it. I love it. Well, I'm really excited. I love hearing from the listeners. If you've bought a Sunlighten, please email me, Ashley at Learn True Health, and tell me how it's going for you. Those listeners who have bought one and are sharing their experience, it's so cool. Just like sharing the experience of work of taking energy bits and sharing,
Yes.
how that's affected them. It's so neat to hear from the listeners and hear that collectively, like these holistic methods are really making a difference. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for coming and sharing this information. I love it when I can connect with a company that is making a difference in this world. I'm a really big fan of The Truth About Cancer. I know Ty Bollinger's on a mission just like I am to help as many people as possible to prevent cancer and to reverse it healthfully, safely, naturally, as much as possible. Um, is
Yes.
there
And
anything?
he has a sunlight in as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that makes a lot of sense that Ty Bollinger would have a sunlight, and of
Yeah.
course he does. I'm expecting to hear Oprah has one. Dr. Oz.
Well,
Dr. Oz has one,
well,
doesn't he? Or no, he had it on his show, right?
yes, we were actually invited on both of their shows. And want to know an interesting story about the Oprah show? When we were invited to be on it, the her attorneys are very protective of her because anybody is looking to make a buck, like kind of um, just trying to sue her for no reason. So the attorney said, "Hey, you make these big health claims. You need to send us the clinical data or else we can't have you on the show. And the whole point of us being on the show was that Dr. Oz wanted to include us on as something that can change your life. So it was before he had his own show, and she would give him a day every week to talk about health. So we sent all the clinical data to the attorneys, and they, within a couple of days, called back and said, okay, this is all good. This is clear. This is real, legitimate, third-party, independent, randomized clinical data, and we'll have you on the show. So we had our Sunlighten Saunas on Oprah, and then Dr. Oz was so impressed with the product and the data that he invited us on his show 2 times. And then we were also on the doctors, and we have a huge celebrity following. We're very private about the celebrities who buy our saunas, but recently Gwyneth Paltrow posted a picture of herself in Goop talking about Sunlighten, and we're also mentioned in her Goop website as their favorite infrared sauna treatment. So it's really fun to work with that group of people as well.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Doesn't you get a little like starstruck when you're like, oh my gosh, this is so neat. We have this in common.
Yes, it's very fun. It's fun when, you're working with athletes and celebrities who are in action movies and kind of at the top of their game, and they use it as part of their treatment to be where they are in the world. So we're very, very proud of that.
Are there any sports teams that you can mention?
I really can't. We're very private
I respect that.
But a lot of the top professional baseball and football teams and soccer have our saunas in their training facilities.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then we're also in some movie sets as well, or on movie lots as part of the gym. So it's a fun place to be.
Alicia, thank you so much for coming on the show today. If anyone has any questions for Alicia, I'll make sure that her email is in the show notes of today's podcast at learntohealth.com. And also, I know that you give a great discount to the listeners. I know that you often give free shipping, which is huge. I think it's something like $500 or $600 to ship these things.
Yes.
So you guys are giving that. What else do the listeners get when they mention Sunlighten? When they mention Sunlighten, when they call Sunlighten and mention the Learn to Health podcast.
What they'll get is, so the free shipping. So shipping is normally $598. So that is a huge discount. And then also one of my favorite things that we have are bamboo carbon towels. So I use my towel when I go in the sauna. So I sit on it on the bench, and they're super absorbent. They're organic. They don't have any scent or color. So they're a beautiful charcoal gray color. And that's just the natural color of the cotton and the carbonized bamboo. And they're just actually the most comfortable towels. So I want everybody to experience it. So make sure you say, Alicia said, I get my bamboo carbon towel. And we'll include that as well.
Nice. Very cool. I have the mat with the bamboo cover and the bamboo personal towel that goes around you. And I love it. I love it. But you have to have the natural fibers because the infrared doesn't go through as effectively through other clothing. Or you just got to be naked.
Yes,
right.
Which a lot of people aren't comfortable with. And it's just really nice to have something that, this is your attire for going into the sauna. Like every time you go in, you'll have this towel. It's going to absorb everything. So it'll protect your sauna. It'll protect it from the sweat. And on top of it, it's such a cozy, nice, warm, soft towel to use.
In the cozy, nice, warm sauna.
Exactly. You are wrapped in comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been wonderful. I definitely, if you guys didn't notice already, I definitely recommend Sunlighten. Give them a call if you have these same health goals I do. And please email me if you guys have questions or want to chat with me about your questions or experience around Sunlighten, around saunas. I love hearing from listeners. Alicia, it has been such a pleasure, and you are welcome back anytime you have more science or information to share about sauna therapy.
Ashley, thank you so much. I just love listening to your show. I consider you a friend, and it's such an honor to be on this show with you. I think you're doing a wonderful thing.
Are you looking to optimize your health? Are you looking to get the best supplements at the lowest price? For high quality supplements and to talk to someone about what supplements are best for you, Go to takeyoursupplements.com and one of our fantastic True Health coaches will help you pick out the right supplements for you that are the highest quality and the best price. That's takeyoursupplements.com. Takeyoursupplements.com. That's takeyoursupplements.com. Be sure to ask about free shipping and our awesome referral program.